also Mr. Bartleman has been trying to reach you.
Oh, tell Judge Pirelli Tuesday night if that's all right with him. Tell this guy to forget it. Oh. No, I can't speak at the Founders Club luncheon. Get Ed Maddow for me.
Oh, and Mr. Tabor, Arthur Nishaboo said it's terribly important he wants you to call him right away.
Thank you, Trudy.
Mr. Maddow, please.
Mr. Maddow, this is Sam Benedict. I have in front of me a copy of your morning edition. I'm glad you're glad I read your newspaper, but I did not call to renew my subscription. No, let me finish. Howard Munsey happens to be a client of mine. He also happens to be innocent of these charges. Huh? I realize what many of your readers think, and I realize that you're doing your best to keep them thinking that way. And if you pursue this line of attack, you're going to find yourself with a libel suit on your hands. I'm aware that you have a legal department to handle these matters, but I'm also aware that you're editor of this newspaper, and I hold you personally responsible. Keep that in mind for your afternoon edition.
We're doing everything possible to assure that Samiko gets to keep her baby. I think her in-laws are taking a very narrow view of the whole business. Of course they're nice people, Arthur, but lots of nice people make the wrong decisions. Samiko has every right to keep her baby.
Court.
Right. Arthur, I want you to assure Samiko that we're doing everything possible to help her. Worrying about it isn't going to do anyone any good. Now tell her to do what her doctor tells her to do. I'll call you later, right? All right. I'll get the car.
Forget it, we'll take a taxi. Besides, it's gonna rain. The morning newspaper says so. Come on.
Defending a firebug?
What's your name?
My name's Stroud, and I came here to see justice done.
Mr. Stroud, the Constitution of this country and the Constitution of this state guarantee everybody the right to a fair and impartial trial, and you look smart enough to understand that. Come on, let's get it. Welcome to the Hall of Justice.
Who are they?
I better find out who Stroud is.
Yeah, and you better find out how long they've been here. Give me that thing.
Those people must be crazy.
They're the kind of people who need someone to hate, and today you're it.
Hold it.
Hi, Sam. Any statement?
Once more. One more, please.
Any statement about yesterday's fire, Mr. Munsey?
No statement. Come on.
Now, what's the matter, Sam? Can't he speak for himself?
Yes, but he's paying me good money to speak for him.
I thought it was kind of a legitimate question.
You thought wrong. My client is under indictment for an offense committed 2 months ago, and nothing else.
Yesterday was the same pattern. A foster home, paint thinner on the rugs. You know as well as I do these firebugs follow a pattern. And he's out on bail.
Your psychiatry's showing. And I advise you not to print that kind of reference unless you want to go into court yourself to defend against PC 248. That's criminal libel, in case you care.
Good morning, Sam.
Oh, hi, Walt.
I understand you won your appeal last week on the McLeish case.
Yeah, finally.
Judge Tower is steaming about it.
Oh, really? He is?
Oh, like a pot full of hard-shell clams.
Oh, Walt, do you know my associate, Hank Tabor? Hank, shake hands with the prosecutor.
Why not?
How are you, Hank?
Fine, thanks.
Why should Judge Tower be steaming? It's not the first time a case has gone up before DCA.
Well, they say he feels that your description of a mistake in his court was a little too eloquent.
Well, I always get eloquent when a judge loads his jury instructions against a defendant who by law is presumed to be innocent.
Yes, Sam, sure.
I'm sure that Judge Tower appreciates that that's my job.
Sure, Sam, sure.
Those people still outside?
They're from Ingleside. They're all worked up about the fire down there yesterday. They've been out front since 7 o'clock this morning. Stroud has them organized, and Sammy knows the ropes.
Yeah, I got a feeling that Stroud has done this kind of thing before.
This time he has something to work with. 2 children were burned in the fire. During the night, one of them died.
I had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I know, Howard, I know.
Stroud's a fool.
Well, you get one fool in front of a bunch of fools, and you got something to cope with. Say, isn't that your client over there?
I better see what she wants. Sumiko, what are you doing here? Better step outside. All right, Sumiko, what is it? You came all the way downtown to see me. You might as well get it over with.
At your office, your secretary said you will be in the court with Mr. Benedict. I didn't realize there will be so many people.
It's all right. You're here now, and I'm listening. Sumiko, you know I'll understand.
Sumiko! Sumiko, what am I gonna do with you? I'm sorry, Hank. My sister just can't seem to get it through her head that you've got other cases.
It's all right, Aunt. What concerns me most is her traveling around town with... Well, I thought the doctor said that...
The doctor did say, don't overexert yourself when your time is so close.
Well, I want you to tell them Kyo's parents, this baby is all, will be all right.
Go on.
Well, I want you to tell them that this baby is all right. Yes, all I have left of Kyo, and it's Kyo's child.
That's it? What you came to see me about?
Is that foolish?
No, not at all. It's very important, and I will tell them. I'll do everything I can. Now, I want you to go home and take care of yourself, and I'll take care of the legal situation.
You promise me?
Yes, I promise you.
Thank you.
Sumiko, will you wait over there, please? Hank, what did Mr. Benedict say?
Just what I told you. The law considers an unborn infant the same as a living person.
Then Kyo's folks can go right ahead and petition for custody now.
They can petition. We can get out a continuance till after the baby is born. Judge Semler is a fine woman. She'll handle this thing fairly.
In other words, Kyo's parents will take the baby away from Sumiko.
No, I didn't say that.
Look, buddy boy, this is Arthur, the fellow who slept in the top bunk, remember? You can't snow me.
Look, we want to do what's best for the child, right? That's what Kyo would have wanted. That's what Sumiko wants. Right? Then that's what we'll do. Arthur, I've got to go.
Oh, Judge Webson's been called back east. His father died. We've been transferred to Department 68.
Department 68, that's Judge Tower.
That's right, young fella. Here's where the master gets his chance to be eloquent again.
All rise. This court is now in session. Honorable Sherman H. Tower presiding.
People versus Howard Munsey.
Ready for the people, Your Honor.
Your Honor, the defense is not ready. We ask for a continuance of this trial to 1 month from today. We are not prepared to proceed.
The defendant has already had 6 weeks to prepare for trial. To me, that is sufficient.
Yes, against the original charge, that of setting fire to a residence at Golden Gate Park. A simple fire, no one injured, property damage minimal. My client has already pleaded not guilty to that charge, and I'm sure the jury will find him not guilty.
Mr. Benedict, is this an opening statement or a motion?
I assign Your Honor's statement as prejudicial misconduct. What the defense is not prepared to do is overcome the general suspicion that Howard Munsey set fire to another residence at Ingleside less than 24 hours ago where a child was burned to death.
Mr. Benedict, you know perfectly well that your client is not on trial for that fire.
Your Honor, my client is very much on trial for that fire. Today, in this court, in this climate, here is the charge, Your Honor. Arson is sought in the death of a child. In the lead, Your Honor, my client is named, and a very large picture of him removes all doubt as to whom the newspapers have determined the people must convict in this Ingleside arson.
Mr. Munsey was sought in connection with that fire, was he not? And questioned?
How does Your Honor know these details? Your Honor must have been reading the newspaper. For your information, I have here an affidavit from Inspector Auckland of the San Francisco Police Department stating that at the time of the fire, my client was at his desk in Berkeley, 10 miles distant. So he could not possibly have done what this newspaper accuses, tries, convicts, and possibly wants to sentence him for.
Let the record show that the newspapers and affidavit will be filed and made a part of the record. Mr. Benedict, your motion is denied. Even if counsel is not, this court is fully capable of making clear to the jury the difference between the two fires, Mr. Benedict, despite recent indications.
Your Honor, those recent indications are still very strong in my mind. But the appellate court has said you are wrong. This city is in a state of hysteria. There isn't a man, woman, or child who hasn't been unduly prejudiced against my client. If there is one prospective juror waiting to be impaneled for this trial who has not been unduly influenced by that newspaper, then this mob of cranks waiting outside this building has certainly done the job this morning.
Would the people have any objection to a continuance of 2 days?
No objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Benedict?
We ask for a continuance of 1 month. If it is to be only 2 days, then we ask for 2 days.
Your motion is granted. 2 days. This trial is continued until 9 o'clock Wednesday morning next.
All right.
Well, maybe something else will be in the headlines by Wednesday, Mr. Munsey.
Mr. Benedict, Judge Tower would like to see you in his chambers.
You wanted to see me, Judge?
Sam, I just wanted you to know that nothing that happened in your winning the McLeish case will have any bearing whatsoever on this present case or any other case in which you and I may become involved. Clear?
Certainly. And let me tell you one thing, Sherman. This isn't a fight between you and me. This is a fight between justice and mob violence. You and I stand for justice, not for revenge or retribution. Good day, Your Honor.
Benedict?
No, this is Mr. Benedict.
Oh, Mr. Benedict, this is Miss Montaigne. I said we'd try to squeeze her in before lunch.
Consider yourself squeezed. My associate, Mr. Taylor.
How do you do?
Right this way.
Yes, by all means. This afternoon. This afternoon. No, sorry. Oh, make yourself comfortable.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, not at all.
No, that's for you, my rib cage.
Your rib cage?
Yes, it shows the broken ones.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, I see. 4 of them.
Yes, right here.
Well, let's see. Your name is Cordelia. Oh, very pretty.
Thank you.
3 weeks ago, you were struck by a car at the corner of Pine and Taylor. The car was driven by Mr. Roger Tuxford. Oh, what did Mr. Tuxford do then?
He apologized. He was very gallant. He insisted on taking me to the hospital.
Ah, you suffered the broken ribs, various abrasions, and the loss of 8 days' employment at the North Bay Art Gallery. You paint pictures?
Sell them.
Marital status single. The attorney who recommended you to me was Mr. Malcolm Bardman.
Yes. Oh, no, actually, it was Mrs. Bardman who recommended you. She dropped by the day Mr. Bardman and I had lunch, and she joined us. She's a brain.
Is that so?
Yes, she was the one who realized Mr. Bardman shouldn't represent me.
Well, Mr. Bardman's a very fine attorney.
It was kind of a shame, but he had a... How did she put it? Oh, a conflict of interests between me and another one of his clients.
Yes, Trudy. Oh, it's for you.
Excuse me. Yeah? Without consulting me? Trudy, would you get me a cab? Samiko's in-laws are making trouble. Excuse me, I've got to run, Sam.
Right.
It was nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Well, I don't see any of the insurance claims or any of the... Yes, Trudy. Right away.
Don't tell me you have a conflict of interest, too.
Oh, not me, but I've got to be in court in 15 minutes. Oh, I'll be very happy to handle your case.
Mrs. Bardman said you would.
Hello, Arthur.
Hank, I'm sorry for dragging you out in the rain. You remember Sumiko's in-laws?
Mr. Matsui, Mrs. Matsui. We met when Sumiko and Kyo were married.
And again at Kyo's funeral.
Yes. Where are they?
In here.
Who's this?
Their lawyer.
Bill Gottlieb.
How would you like it, Mr. Gottlieb, if I pulled a stunt like this on one of your clients?
Now, wait a minute, Mr. Tabor. Nobody's pulling any stunts here.
She didn't pull any stunt. We did. Mr. Gottlieb arrived just a few minutes ago.
I've already explained the ethics of the situation.
Maybe you can explain them to me. I'm Henry Tabor. I'm this girl's lawyer.
Oh? I'm Al Walpole. What is this?
Just a minute, Mr. Tabor. Dr. Walpole...
I'm sorry, Doctor. That will be all the testing for today. Sumiko, you can put that down. Oh, I simply can't allow this.
Now, wait a minute, Mr. Tabor. Will you wait a minute? Let's straighten this out. Maybe between us, we can save these people a lot of pain if we talk this over.
You better go to your room now. I'll see you in a minute, okay?
Go on.
I'll see you in a minute.
Will you sit down, Mr. Tabor? Doctor, would you tell us what you've learned?
Sumiko is unable to read or write or do simple arithmetic.
No bearing. Lots of girls who can't read or write or do simple arithmetic do very complex things like get married and raise children, Doctor.
I was referring to the responsiveness, Doctor.
I found her markedly unresponsive. More inclined to stare out that window than to demonstrate any ability to rear a child.
The results of a test like the one you've conducted here under conditions like this would have no more validity in court than hearsay. You know that. I'm surprised that a professional man would...
Don't be surprised at me, my young friend. I was asked to come here and examine that poor girl. My impression was that these people truly and honestly wanted to determine whether she had the capacity to rear a baby.
That's true, Mr. Tabor. I promise you.
I can't tell you how much I sympathize with her, but from what I've been able to observe, I'd say no. She's incapable.
Not entirely, Doctor. She has got a...
I know. She's trainable. She has a job wrapping gift packages, I understand. But she lives in a dream world. In my opinion, she's retarded. And I'm sure that any other opinions you want to obtain or any other tests you want to administer under the most ideal conditions would demonstrate the same thing. Lack of mental capacity.
Does it also demonstrate the lack of a much more important capacity? To love and nurture that child to the exclusion of every other interest in her life? I doubt it. I assure you, Doctor, her capacity in that direction is considerable.
Oh, I don't doubt that instinct. But I do doubt. I most seriously doubt her ability to translate it.
If our son, if Keo were still alive to care for both of them, it would be all right. But he's not alive.
Mr. Tabor, if I had a grandchild coming into the world under these circumstances, my primary concern would be for the welfare of the child. I'm sure yours would be, too.
Tell me about them.
You make fun, too.
No. Go on with your game.
I'm all through.
Who are they?
My people.
Your people? What people?
People who won't make fun of me.
Which one is that one?
She's a little girl.
Does she have a name?
Little girl.
Little girl? Which is the mother? And is there a father? Who is this one?
Oh, that isn't anybody.
No?
No, nobody.
Sumiko, how long was the doctor here? What questions did he ask you?
Lots of questions.
Like what?
Like to add, to take away, and put the blocks together. And there were pictures, many pictures. I didn't do very well.
Sumiko, do you understand what it means?
This is all I feel. This is all I understand, Mr. Tabor. All day, all night, my baby's kicking his tiny feet. My baby, mine, alive.
Yes, Sumiko, alive. You're giving this child life. Kiyo's parents can't give this baby life. Only you can. That's your contribution. But Kiyo's parents say they can give this baby the kind of upbringing that a child needs in the complicated sort of world we live in. Sumiko, you may have to let them do that.
You promised me.
Well, hi there.
Oh, hi.
I didn't expect to see you in a place like this.
Oh, you want to get your ribs paid for, don't you?
Yes.
Well, here's a pen. I'm going to need your signature. Here, and on this page, and here.
I hope this won't bankrupt Mr. Tuxford.
Oh, not at all. He's well insured.
Are you sure?
Oh, positive. Nothing personal. It's a simple business negotiation.
I hate to seem mercenary, but I will be. How much can I expect?
Well, the going price of a broken rib these days is somewhere between $1,250 and $1,500.
Per rib?
Per rib. And I expect to get top dollar for yours. Beautiful ribs like yours don't show up every day.
Do you like modern art?
Hmm?
This, for instance?
Yeah, if you like smashed up hot rods.
How about this one?
Oh. That is something.
The Unknowable Man.
You wanted me to like this one, didn't you?
The sculptor John Kebling's reputed to be a genius. I think I'm willing to believe it, now that you've shown such an affinity for this.
I'm unknowable? I know a Superior Court judge would give you a lot of argument on that.
So far, you're unknowable. You seem like a very old soul, but...
I do?
Yes, it's the Hindu concept, you know, reincarnation. Our souls have lived before in other bodies. Most souls are pretty new, though. But you may be an old one. An old soul has wisdom and courage, integrity, compassion, gentleness.
And problems?
Other people's problems, which he can't ignore even long enough to take an art dealer to lunch.
Good idea. Do you know an art dealer who happens to be hungry?
All art dealers are hungry. I'll get my coat.
I think I got what you want, Sam. United States versus Donald A. Cooper, CCA, 7th Circuit, 1961. 229, Fed, 2nd, 35. Where did that come from?
That's the unknowable man. I was persuaded it belongs in my office. Our rib case wants me to live with it for a while, see if I like it.
I thought you went to get her signature.
So did I.
Sumiko Matsui's outside, Mr. Tabor.
Thank you, Trudy.
Sumiko, the hearing is at 3 o'clock in Judge Sembler's chambers, not here.
I have to show you something. Now, I have learned first a lesson.
Sumiko, it's...
Joe and Judy go to the country. Joe and Judy, two city children who lived in a big... Joe and Judy, two city children who... Joe and Judy go to the country. Joe and... I could read it last night, Mr. Tabor. I really could. I'll throw away my people.
You throw away what?
You know, the mother, the father, the little girl, and the nobody one.
Sumiko, why do you call it the nobody one?
Well, it's like there are all sorts of people you never get to know, and sometimes you can't get to know the person at all.
Well, you can't throw away your people. They've been subpoenaed. That means you have to bring them to judges' chambers. Now listen, Sumiko. There is nothing to worry about. As I told you, all that will happen today in Judge Sembler's chambers is that I'll ask for a continuance, a postponement. Nothing will be done about your baby until after it's born. I promise you.
No, I can't wait any longer. I must know today.
Sumiko, if we argue the case today, you may lose.
But I can't stand it any longer. If the baby is going to be taken away, I must know. I must know before I let myself love it anymore.
All right, Sumiko. If you'll wait in my office, we'll go over to the city hall together.
Hello, Sumiko.
You need anything on liens?
No, not today. Keep after Rafferty and Sims. Be sure to get that invitation in the mail. Yes. Good luck with her. Hank, would you like me to be with you at the hearing?
You'll be socked in pretty tight with those tax boys, won't you?
Well, if you get in a bind, call me. I may be able to break loose.
Trouble is, I think Sumiko's in-laws are probably right. The facts are against us.
The natural instinct, Hank, that the child belongs with the mother. That's a fact, too. Give him the number.
Thanks. Trudy, see if you can get Miss Cordelia Montaigne on the phone, would you please?
Now, I'd like to briefly summarize Sumiko Matsui's educational record. She began school at the Two-Band Internment Center in April of 1942, shortly after the war began. There, her work was so poor that at first no grades could be given. Subsequently, she received passing marks in only 2 subjects, physical education and art.
Your Honor, if I may interrupt, I'd like to fill in the background on that.
Proceed.
I'd like to go back to early 1942, shortly after Pearl Harbor. A very unpleasant time for many loyal Americans because they happen to be of Japanese ancestry and reside on the West Coast. Many of them were peremptorily arrested and questioned by the FBI. Eventually, all of them were sent to the now infamous internment camps. Sumiko, you understand you have to tell the truth in this room?
Yes.
I'd like you to think back to the day before your family was taken away. Can you recall anything that happened here in San Francisco? Something you saw as you arrived home from school.
Well, the man, is that what you mean?
Yes, Sumiko, the men. Now tell us what you saw them do.
Well, they took my mother and father away.
Took her mother and father away. It was a fake arrest staged by 2 men impersonating FBI agents. They drove their prisoners into the country, stranded them there, then went back and looted the house. This was just one of many similar incidents perpetrated by greedy, unscrupulous people during those days. They looted the house. When Sumiko saw them coming back, she ran away. It was 6 days before she was reunited with her family. 6 days. She was 6 years old.
That's certainly something that no American can be proud of, but I fail to see what bearing it has on...
The bearing is that after such an experience, it's no wonder her grades were poor in the internment camps.
But her grades in later schools were just as poor, if not worse.
Sumiko, what do you have to say to all this?
If you let me keep my baby, I promise to do my very best. I really will.
Come here, Sumiko. Sumiko, if your baby happened to drink some of this, what would you do?
I'd call Dr. Shigeta or ask operator for emergency.
And then what would you do? Tell'd you here. The description of the antidote.
I'd ask Arthur to read it.
If he weren't home.
Mrs. Tanaka's downstairs.
If she weren't home. You can't read the label. Thank you, Sumiko.
I must confess, Your Honor, that was a very impressive demonstration. Yet I must point out that as long as mankind has existed on this earth, women have been bringing up children without benefit of books, pencils, or printing presses. Somehow they're aware of the dangers that confront their children. Sumiko certainly demonstrated that capacity in recognizing that the bottle you showed her contained a poisonous substance.
The mothers that you're referring to, Mr. Tabor, deal with their problems realistically. Sumiko's a daydreamer. These strange dolls of hers, for instance. I think that Mr. Tabor will stipulate to the fact that she plays with these dolls, talks to them constantly.
Exactly, Your Honor. Sumiko, tell me about these people of yours. Whom do they represent? This one on the end here, that's the little girl. And that's the mother. And this one is the father. Is that right? And this one, Sumiko, which one is this one?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, Mom.
Why not, Sumiko?
That's the nobody one. There are lots of people you cannot get to know. Lots of them.
Like the nobody one? Your Honor, if I may, this is the work of a sculptor named John Kebling, who's becoming known throughout the art world. It bears the title, The Unknowable Man. To quote from a critique, the unknowable man earned for John Kebling the reputation for soaring, imaginative brilliance. A concept almost identical with Sumiko's. How do you compare retardedness with genius, or is there a comparison? Does her nobody doll suggest Kebling's soaring, imaginative brilliance? Does it possibly suggest the existence of a hidden mental capacity in this girl? Well, does it?
Well, Doctor?
It's an interesting idea, certainly.
Certainly what?
If Sumiko had such hidden possibilities, wouldn't they have become evident in the intelligence tests that were administered to her sometime after the incidents that Mr. Tabor described?
Sumiko. Sumiko, you understand what's going on here now, don't you?
Yes.
Then why all this preoccupation with the rain?
I don't know.
It's in our brief, Mr. Tabor. Isn't it, Doctor?
Yes, it's perhaps one of the most striking of the fixations that seem to beset her.
She's afraid of rain.
Why, Sumiko? What does the rain remind you of?
I don't know.
According to this newspaper file, Your Honor, the day Sumiko saw her parents taken away and her home looted, it was coming down in barrels. She wandered around the city all day and half the night. She was lost and alone in a steady downpour. 16 hours. She was 6 years old. Sumiko, does the rain remind you of the time you were lost?
I don't know.
Is it possible, Doctor?
Yes.
Could it have affected her in such a way that she might seem to be mentally retarded when actually she is not?
If it were a traumatic shock, yes.
If that were the case, would it have affected the test you gave her last week, for instance? It was raining then, wasn't it?
True. But we're only talking possibilities.
It is possible, though, that the effect of that sort of a traumatic shock might respond to treatment.
Well, it would take several months to determine that.
But it is possible.
Yes, it's possible.
And highly probable, Your Honor.
Well, it seems to me, if it's at all possible for Sumiko to employ, say, a competent nursemaid for, say, a year, this whole matter could be happily resolved.
Your Honor, I'm not a registered nurse, but I wonder, would I qualify?
You certainly would. Mrs. Matsui, thank you very much.
That would be grounds for a mistrial. Stroud knows what he's doing.
Sam, how about a picture?
Sam, the DA says your client's record is enough to convict him.
What record?
Setting up the 2 fires in the foster homes where he grew up. Plus the fact that...
My client's record consists of being accused that he has set fires. No one has ever proved that he has, either as a boy or as a man, and they won't prove it now. Come on, son.
Sam, that crowd outside is back again. Worse than before in carrying signs.
Yeah, I saw him. Oh, about Sumiko, Hank. Good work.
All rise. This court is again in session. The Honorable Sherman H. Tower presiding.
People versus Howard Munsey.
Ready for the people, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready, Mr. Benedict?
Your Honor, I'm sorry, but the defense finds it necessary to move for a further continuance, and time is waived.
Your Honor, any further delay would work an unjustified hardship on witnesses who have taken valuable time from work once again to appear here.
The defense is mindful of this and makes the motion with the greatest reluctance. Your Honor, last Monday you seemed to feel that the 2 days continuance, which you so generously granted, would clear the atmosphere. But the hysteria engendered by the coincidental occurrence of the fire at Ingleside, the inferences in the press, intentional or no, that my client was somehow or other guilty, have made it imperative that we delay trial in the interest of justice.
Correct me, Mr. Benedict, but I noticed no inferences in this morning's press.
True, but the atmosphere is still thick with prejudice. Last Monday, there were a dozen people outside this hall waiting to influence potential jurors. Today, there were twice as many. Upon arriving at the Hall of Justice this morning, every single one of these people called for jury duty was subjected to a display of angry placards, loud shouts, and what amounts to one single vicious threat that unless they convict Howard Munsey, somebody will wind up with a hospital bill.
Mr. Benedict, you've had a great deal of experience with jurors. When you examine them, you can determine whether or not they're prejudiced. Motion is denied.
In that case, Your Honor, I ask for 48 hours to prepare a change of venue to another county beyond the vicious influence of these people outside.
Mr. Benedict, you've just had 48 hours to prepare such request. Motion denied.
If it please, Your Honor, we had no way of knowing until a few minutes ago that this situation would exist.
And again, Mr. Benedict, if you determine that a juror is prejudiced, you will have your lawful right to challenge.
In that case, I now move to disqualify you, Judge.
Order in the court! Order in the court!
You must realize that it's too late for such a motion, Mr. Benedict. You've already acknowledged acceptance of this court. If there are no further motions, Mr. Clerk, will you call the jury, please?
If it please, Your Honor, my associate, Mr. Tabor, will impanel the jury. May I be excused?
You may.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have you ever impaneled a jury?
No.
Well, get busy.
It was too late to disqualify him. You knew that.
Yeah, but it's not too late to let him know what I think of him.
Let's hear what he's got to say! Let's hear it!
Excuse me, I wonder if I could borrow your sign.
Borrow it?
All right, I'll buy it. There you are. Say, I'd like to buy yours, too.
Sam!
Cordelia, what are you doing here?
I know I wasn't invited, but I just dropped by the courtroom to see how the master pleads the case.
Well, you're invited now.
You Benedict!
Go on, get me. Hurry up.
All right, Benedict, what are you trying to pull?
Nothing at all.
No, you don't. I'm watching your gimmick. You won't get away with it. No, you don't.
Bailiff, see what that noise is out there.
These signs don't belong to you.
All right, this is a court of law. If it please, Your Honor.
Your point is made, Mr. Benedict. And I might add that if I thought that what just occurred was deliberate on your part, I would hold you in contempt of this court. However, in view of the fact that the prospective jurors have been unduly influenced, I hereby grant a continuance of 30 days. The defendant will remain at liberty on the bond heretofore filed. This court is adjourned.
All right.
Well, you feel better, Howard?
Not acquitted, am I?
Acquitted? No. The trial is postponed for 30 days, at which time you'll get an impartial jury, and Judge Tower will have regained his customary objectivity.
Mr. Benedict, in 30 days, will I be acquitted then?
Howard, I never guarantee a verdict. But when I get through with this jury, they'll know that the case against you is no case at all. Just a lot of unfounded suspicions. Hank, you look after him, huh?
Any questions?
As a matter of fact, I do have one. It being lunchtime, you haven't seen any hungry lawyers around here, have you?
Hasn't anyone ever told you, Cordelia, all lawyers are hungry?